Hello, I'm Peter from Barcrusher Boats. Today we're going to give you a run through of our Barcrusher 615 with a Gen2 hull. We'll start at the back of the boat here on the Barcrusher 615C and we'll look through some of the features. If we start here, we look at the burley pot. The burley pot is removable, comes with a muncher, comes in all Barcrusher boats. Great feature, every fisherman needs a burley pot. At the back here we have a tread plate swim platform. Fantastic if you've got to step over the transom to gaff a fish, or if you've been in the water diving and you want to get back up onto the back of the boat, fantastic platform to sit on whilst you get your dive gear off. If we look under the swim platform here, we've got the Barcrusher design trim tabs. These are a registered design, an anodised 6mm plate with a hinging device. Stainless plates aren't great on the back of your boat because they tend to fight with the aluminium and blow paint off. So we like to use aluminium trim tabs if possible, and they're riveted on with construction grade 1/4 inch rivets. These trim tabs use an electric actuator which is switched from the dash. You don't need a hydraulic pump or hoses, no leaks. Electric works beautifully. If we look under the engine pod here, we've got the water ballast outlet. This is part of the quick flow water ballast feature of the boat, and this is the new Delta flare that is part of the Gen2 hull. You can see that new bottom shape there, which basically gives you extra lift, extra high speed stability, earlier planing. Great feature for the boat and something that we haven't seen done in other plate boats. You can see here the bungs which allow you to drain the sump in the back of the boat, and you can also see the bungs here into the buoyancy chamber either side of the centre two stringers. If we follow the swim platform around, we come to the engine pod. This is the business end of the boat where we have the motor mounted, and it's critical that this engine pod is super strong and super stiff and cannot move. It's tied back into the upper transom, tied into the lower transom, and integrally tied into the whole swim platform. Super stiff, super strong, doesn't move. We're very fortunate today that there's a great range of outboard motors available. The technology is continually getting better and better, more reliable. On this particular boat here we have a DF140 Suzuki 4-cylinder engine which pushes this boat very nicely, but there are a range of really good engines in the different brands out there, and it pays to have a chat to your dealer, have a talk to some mates who have got different engines and on different boats, and just try and work out what might be the best fit for your need. If we come over this side of the transom, you can see the loom tube coming out through the transom here. You can also see the hydraulic hoses. All Barcrusher boats come with hydraulic steering standard. Here we have the Barcrusher engineered ladder. You can see non-slip tread plate steps to make it easy to get in and out of the boat. Folds up like so. You don't need to lock it down. It'll simply stay there regardless of what sort of conditions you're running through. You put it down, climb into the boat. Okay, now we're in the boat. We're going to have a look at the transom layout, where we've put things, how we've designed the ergonomics of the boat. After all, the cockpit is your fishing area. This is the business end of the boat, and it's important that everything falls to hand, everything's in its place, and you can get around the boat easily. Let's have a look at the bait board. The bait board's central in the boat. It's designed just at the right height, so if you're baiting up or if you're filleting a fish, it's the perfect height. We've designed it so that it's easy to get at, centrally located. There's still room either side to fish. The bait board has a drain tube that takes any blood and muck off the bait board down into your burley bucket. Tries to stop it pooling in the back there. If after a couple of years your bait board's a bit cut up, you can take the plastic out and you can replace it. Simple as that. The bait board also comes out of the transom. We can pull it right out of the boat. If you want to put it over the side, give it a scrub. You can also drop a ski pole on the same hole. Built into the transom here, nicely out of the way but within easy reach, is our live bait tank. Tinted lid, keep the sun off your liveys. Inlet tap here, keeps your water oxygenated, keeps your liveys in top condition. When you close that up, when it's full, it overflows through these holes at the back. Great little feature. Okay, let's have a look at the folding rear seat and what we put inside the transom. Seat folds down like so, acts as a step to get in and out through the step through, also acts as a seat. Great place to put the kids. You can also have a cushion made up, make it a little bit more comfortable. Inside the transom here we have dual batteries, standard in this model. You wouldn't go offshore without dual batteries in a boat of this size. If you lose one battery, you won't start your motor. So it's critical you've got two batteries as a standard feature in any boat you're going to use in offshore conditions. If you look over here, we've got our switching system. Here we have our battery isolation switch, where we can run the boat on one battery, both batteries, either battery, or turn them all off. We also have a heavy duty circuit breaker, which can run a winch, and we have a main fuse to the dashboard here. When it folds up, everything disappears. You wouldn't even know it was there. If we look under the side deck here, we've got the fuel filter and fuel bulb. Here you've got a clear bowl. If you get any water in your fuel, any condensation, you'll see it in the bottom here. Drain it into a cup and dispose of it. If we look down the side here under the side decks, we've got nice strong side pockets with plenty of room for storing rods, gaffs, nets. If we run down here, you can see you've got full length, no bracing in the side to stop you putting rods and gaffs in there. If you look up on the top deck here, we've got cast aluminium rod holders. We don't like putting stainless rod holders in the decks because they can fight with the aluminium and cause paint to blow off. So we love to use cast aluminium rod holders, the only way we'll go. If we look on top of the decks here, we've got the non-slip decking material, urethane deck material. If you're putting boxes when you're loading the boat at the jetty, at the pontoon or in your driveway, it's nice to be able to put things on the deck without causing scratching. If you're standing up there for any reason, it's non-slip. If we look in the coaming here, we've got LED lights. The whole boat has LED lights throughout. Your nav lights, your anchor light, your coaming lights. It's all Hella, best quality we can buy. Not cheap, seems to last forever. Great gear. One thing we love to do in the design of our boats is have nice wide side decks. You can see here, a nice wide flat side deck gives you somewhere to sit. You can sit around the boat. What it tends to do is it tends to double the size of your cockpit. In boats with these nice shaped sides, you tend to huddle in the middle of the cockpit. This doubles the room, gives you more space, people sit around the edge, there's no extrusion poking you in the bum, there's no little cracks where salt water and moisture can sit. It's a low maintenance, great setup. We love to build boats with nice wide side decks like this. When we touch on the ergonomics in the boat and the business area of the boat, which is the cockpit, one thing that's really important is to have the coaming just at the right height. You want to feel like you're standing deep in a boat. Some boats you feel like you're standing on top of and you're never comfortable. In a Barcrusher you stand deep in the boat. I'm 6'1" and you'll see I stand here. The coaming here hits me right in the thigh in a comfortable position. If you want to brace yourself to fight a fish or gaff a fish or use a net, you'll find you feel very, very comfortable against that coaming in this boat. Whether you're standing against the side coaming or against the rear coaming, you'll see that you're standing nice and deep in the boat. Works very well. If we look on the floor at the back of the boat here, you can see a drop-down sump. Any water that lands in the boat will end up in this point. We have a good capacity bilge pump here, 2,000 gallons per hour to blast any water out. We also have our live bait tank pump over here with a stainless steel cock to switch it off and a pickup that runs straight through the bottom of the boat. You'll notice down on the floor in the back here that it's nice and clean. There's no little cracks or holes for tackle or bait to fall down. It's all sealed, it's all welded, clean, tidy, low maintenance, works well. If we look at the floor in the back here, this is the business end of the boat. This is where we fish. If we look down here, we've got the kill tank. Very easy to get at. You catch a fish, you're straight in, put your fish in there, close it up. Very accessible, very handy. You can even store a couple of dive bottles in it. If you're looking at a Barcrusher, one thing you're going to hear a lot about is our icon feature, Rigideck. Rigideck is our super strong engineered subfloor framing system that gives the boat its strength. Barcrusher was first in Australia with the Rigideck system, and I'll explain how it works. In the boat you have a full lattice of subfloor framing, including full-length stringers. In this boat there's 6 running full length from bow to stern, and then you've got cross frames running all the way up the boat, so it's fully braced in all directions. When we drop a tread plate floor on top of that and weld it in, it fully triangulates and boxes it in all directions. So Rigideck is one of the stiffest, we believe, strongest subfloor systems in the world. A big issue with trailer boaties when you're out fishing is maintenance. Nobody wants to come home and spend hours in your driveway cleaning a boat. So at Barcrusher we have this beautiful flat tread plate floor, and the inside of the boat is fully hosable. You can hose from one end to the other, usually 15 minutes, give it a good hose down. Perhaps you use a product like Salt Away to cut the salt off, and your boat will stay looking great. So again, fully welded floor, no little nooks and crannies for things to disappear in the corners, nowhere for salt and muck to sit. Nice, clean, low maintenance floor. It's really important in a fishing boat that you've got a good, comfortable, functional, practical chair. Need to be low maintenance, need to be comfortable to sit in all day. This chair here is the deluxe upgrade model in this particular boat, which is available to customers. If you look down at the seat box underneath, it's a good, solid, well-engineered box, and we've got fully hosable tackle drawers in here, which sit in there, easy to access, fully hosable, great feature in the seat box. The other important thing with the placement of the seat, it's got to act as both a comfortable chair when you're sitting out there fishing, which they are with a nice footrest, and also they have to spin around and double as a functional helm chair, which this does. These seats slide to and fro, and you can comfortably stand in front of the seat, which you often do in rough conditions, hang onto the wheel or brace yourself, or you can sit down You've got a comfortable footrest on the back of the bunk here. We try to make them as comfortable and as ergonomic as we can possibly make them. If we look at the helm position here, or the dash set setup, this one's got a 7-inch sounder on the dash. It's got some digital gauges with a Suzuki engine. It's also got the anchor winch switch and circuit breaker. You've also got room here if you want to fit a radio or a couple of radios. The radio on this one's fitted over underneath the dash out of the way. Some people like them here. It's also got your trim tab switch up here with your LED indicators telling you where your trim tabs are. It's also got your nav light switches, your bilge pump and live bait tank pump switches. Another great feature we have in our boats is what we call our C-Tech battery charging port. This is a terrific little feature over here in the switch gangs. Basically, if you put your boat away for a couple of months in winter and then get it out, often you'll find your batteries have run low, your plates and your battery might have sulfated up and your batteries mightn't be recoverable. With this little C-Tech charging port, you can get a little charger, plug it in there and it'll just trickle charge your battery, and little LED lights will show you what sort of condition your battery's in. It's a great little feature. We do it in all our boats. Another important feature in every dashboard is a DC 12-volt power outlet. These days everyone has a phone to charge or a camera to charge, or perhaps you might want to plug in a spotlight or an LED light to put some more light in the cab. Everybody needs a 12-volt power outlet on their dash. One thing that's really important in a fishing boat is you want the ergonomics to be just right. When you stand or when you sit or when you move around the boat, you don't want to be bumping into things. You want adequate room to move. You want handholds and rails to hold onto. If we look at the helm position here, you'll notice the wheels at a good height and on a good angle. If you sit down, the footrest is in a comfortable position. You can sit in the back of the chair, you can stand in front of the seat. You've got handholds, the windscreen itself acts as a handhold. You know, no matter what you're running through, this boat is designed to be comfortable to fish out of, comfortable to drive, comfortable to stand in. You'll notice the helm position here. If you're running in through a bar and you're standing up, you want good visibility, you want the control to fall to hand. You want to be able to put that boat in or out of gear as required. You want to be able to turn the wheel, control it, drive the boat in all sorts of conditions and do it comfortably. If you look in the centre of the floor of this boat, you can see the fuel tank. It's a pressure tested box, holds about 150 litres with a bit of an airspace, probably about 140 on the water. It's got a filler bung at the front here. One of the unique features of a Barcrusher boat is we have no side fuel filler hoses. Therefore we have no hoses, no hose clamps to come loose. One of the reasons that you might see on the news every now and again a boat on fire, it's usually a fuel spill where a hose has perished or a hose clamp has come loose or the tank has somehow allowed fuel to seep into the bottom of the boat. With this system it's very, very safe. It's situated in the water ballast chamber. The fuel bung here allows you to blast fuel straight into the tank. You simply put the nozzle, pull up either side of the bowser, put the nozzle straight in, fill it up, no spills, no blowback, no fuel running out anywhere. Very simple, safe, smart system, and we're very proud of it. Okay, if we come up in the cabin of this boat, you can see we've got good sized bunks, which are also available with bunk infill cushions, so you can make it a full V berth. You can see I'm over 6 feet, and I can comfortably lie down and have a snooze. If I put those infill cushions on, 2 guys could sleep in here easily, maybe even 3. If we look up the front of the bunk system here, and we remove this front cushion, what we have is a tread plate step to allow you to step up through the nice big hatch. Again, the ergonomics of the boat are important, and we like to have a nice big front hatch. So if you have to go out to the anchor area or at the front of the boat, you've got a nice big clear area to get through. If we look at the bowsprit here, we've got a nice sturdy design where the Saka anchor pulls up into that pulley and locates nicely. It sits there quite securely. If we look in the anchor well here, we've got a reel style anchor winch. This is a stress-free, one we've been using for a long time and have found work very well. Available in a free-fall model where the anchor will fall quite quickly, or the standard model where it'll run down off the motor. Adequate chain, narrow diameter rope, fits beautifully in the anchor well, and comes up really nicely, switched off the dash. Great thing in rough seas too. If you're trying to get that anchor up or down, you're not standing out here, you simply hit the switch and up she comes. This anchor well in this model comes with a plate in the back of the anchor well designed, and comes with every boat standard to fit this winch. So if you don't order one with your boat, but your wife wants to give you one for Christmas, or you want to buy one later and retrofit it, the plate is already there, ready to bolt the winch in. One of the great features of the cuddy cabin model is what we call our gas strut folding roof. Great for low garaging, low storage. I'll show you how it folds. It brings the height of the boat down by 1 metre once you fold the roof and windscreen. I'll walk you through it. So first thing we do, turn the seats around. Then we take the clears off. Once the clears are off, we remove the arms. We have two stainless steel gas struts either side of the windscreen and two support arms. The gas struts come with little quick release fittings. We take the support arms off and basically your roof is free to walk back into the boat. There's your roof folded. Once you've folded your roof and it's sitting down comfortably on the floor of the boat, you undo the three latches on the dash, the windscreen hinges here and folds upside down. There you go, it's a metre lower than it was when we had the roof up. Usually slips under about a 2150, 2200 garage. Another feature of the Barcrusher 615 is this toughened glass windscreen. We make it out of a really strong aluminium extrusion, fully fabricated, not riveted together. We don't use plastic, we use toughened glass, so it goes through the toughening process. We don't have too much of it in the design. We want to make sure that if you punch the nose of the boat through a big wave, you might be travelling out through a bar and cop a green one over the top. Too much glass and it could break. A little bit less glass, make sure it's nice and strong. If you ever have to swing off this windscreen, she's as tough as it comes. Not only is our gas strut folding roof a fantastic feature for low storage in a low carport or garage, but the benefit of having a pivoting roof is that you can close off this gap above the windscreen. If you're out in really rough conditions, say you're out in 25 knots, coming back home, quarter on into the chop and a little bit of spray's flying, rather than have a clear across the front here, which can get a bit scratchy and a bit hard to see through, you simply grab the handle, pull the roof down and lock it off. The benefit of this is you can stand in a nice dry cockpit. You've got toughened glass windscreen here that you can see through. If you want to pop it open again, you simply pop it open. Works brilliantly. If we look underneath the hull here, we have what we call our wave slicer hull design. It's strakeless, meaning there aren't those normal ridges you'd sort of see under a fiberglass hull that are designed to get big heavy boats up onto the plane. What this means is it's nice and smooth. It tends to cut beautifully. It doesn't tend to bang, and that's one of the things Barcrusher boats are really known for. They're nice, soft ride. If we look around the side here, we can see the spray rail for turn down spray, and we can also see the weld lines here with a floor weld and the stringer welds are welded in. In this boat, there's 6 stringers across the boat, running all the way down with cross frames down the hull. So again, super strong, super tough, 4mm bottom plate, super tough construction. For those of you that aren't familiar with our icon feature, the quick flow water ballast chamber, let me explain. In the centre of the boat, we have a chamber that runs all the way up to the nose, open at the rear under the pod here. When you stop, water floods in. What it does is it reduces buoyancy, so it just adds ballast, just drops the boat down onto its chines, gives you great stability at rest. As soon as you put the throttle down, the nose lifts, you move forward, the water dumps, and immediately you've got a nice light planing hull. Great system. And here at the back of the boat, this is the exit point for the quick flow water ballast chamber. Now, you might notice if you've looked at a Barcrusher boat before that this bottom shape has changed. This is what we call our new Delta flare. This is part of the Gen 2 design. Now, the Delta flare is a V-shaped planing plank that runs up to the front of the boat with this shape in it. What we did was we experimented with a range of different shapes, and we determined over about 18 months of experimentation that this gave us earlier planing, a better high-speed stability. The boat runs a little bit more economically, and it basically gives the boat what was already a great hull even better performance. We're very, very happy with it. In addition to the Delta flare, we've also changed the chine arrangement on this boat. We've made the chine wider, we've introduced a little bit of negative chine. This is to give us a little bit more stability at rest and to also turn down spray a little bit better to try and give the boat a drier ride. You know, in combination, the Delta flare, the changed chine, it's really given us a hull that's even better than the original model. At Barcrusher, we feel it's not only important to build you a great boat, but we feel the whole experience is enhanced by putting the boat on a great trailer. It's important that launching and retrieving is easy and low stress. It's important that the trailer tracks beautifully behind your car when you're towing down the highway at 100 k's. So I'm going to run you over some of the features, some of the things we do that make these trailers work really well under a Barcrusher boat. If we start at the hitch end of the trailer, you look down here, we've got override hydraulic braking. Today, a lot of people still use cable braking on trailers. Our preference on the tandem trailers is to always go with hydraulic. It's smoother, it doesn't tend to shunt when you pull up at the lights. It's a much smoother, much more positive, much more refined braking system. Cable braking works well. Some people are happy with it because of its simplicity. We like hydraulic on the tandems. We just feel it works better. Of course, every trailer is going to need a flip-up jockey wheel. This one has a foldable handle, so you can put it up out of the way, make sure it doesn't get stuck on your gutter or your driveway and bend. You've got a nice strong winch post, fully galvanised, welded, a U-bolt for adjustment here. A Fulton winch, good quality winch. Some winches are very cheap and the ratchet tends to flip out at the vital moment, which can be quite dangerous. We like to put a good quality winch on the winch post. Another exclusive feature we put on every Barcrusher trailer is what we call our bar catch. The bar catch is a stainless steel device that's designed to pivot off the winch post here and hook behind this hook, welded to the stem of the boat. It's designed for single-handed launch and retrieve, makes driving on and driving off very, very easy. We've got strong cross members. The drawbar is tied into the cross members. We've got angle here which holds a full ladder of keel rollers up the middle of the boat to provide support for the keel. Very important in aluminium boats that they're well supported on the trailer. Some cheap trailers have the odd roller. It's not satisfactory. It's very hard to get your boat on the trailer and align it on the trailer, and also there's often inadequate support. So something that's very important is a full ladder of keel rollers. If we move down here, you can see wobble rollers. The wobble rollers keep your boat upright on the trailer. And then if we look under here, you can see these guides or skids running down the trailer. Very important when you run a boat on a trailer that your boat automatically centres and aligns, especially with our bar catch. You want it to hit that wobble roller every time, hit that bar catch and lock on. So these guides and skids allow the boat to slide into the centre. So even on windy days or where you've got a lot of current at the ramp and your boat's moving around, with these guides and skids, this trailer is specifically designed so that the Barcrusher hull centres beautifully, hits that bar catch every time. If we look at the mud guards here, we're using galvanised steel guards which provide a good solid step up onto the side of the boat. Good platform if you want to stand on them and get things in and out of your boat. If we look at the back of the trailer here, we've got the latest technology in LED trailer lights. Anybody that's owned a boat for a few years will have put up with the frustration of constantly blowing globes as you put them in and out of salt water. LED sealed units work really well. Another thing that's very important on trailers is tying your boat on. We use ratchet straps here, tie down point on the back of the boat under the swim platform, tie down point designed for the purpose, keeps the strap away from your trim tab, keeps your boat really solid on the trailer. At this point, you're watching this and you're probably wondering which is the best Barcrusher for you. Well, you could say the 615C Gen 2 is probably the great Australian all-rounder. It's a great size for fishing bays, rivers, estuaries, offshore, coastal boating. We've got customers using this size boat all over Australia, out to the reef in North Queensland, on the bays in Victoria and Brisbane, offshore in New South Wales, WA. It's a nice sized boat in terms of you've got plenty of cockpit space for you and your mates, or you and your family, or you and a mate. Comfortable to fish with 2 or 5 or 6 people. If you want to take it offshore, you can be confident you can come home in just about any conditions. And you'll do it safely, you'll do it reasonably comfortably. The boat is a soft riding boat with adequate power. It's a great boat for running bars, going in and out with some training and experience. So you can pretty well do anything in this model. So it's a matter of deciding where you're going to fish and whether a boat of this size is going to tick all the boxes for you. If you need any further help or information, you can speak to your dealer, you can ring Barcrusher head office in Melbourne. We're happy to give you all the support, help you with your research as much as we can, and give you a full run through of any of the other models we make.